Adrian Wojnarowski of the great site, The Vertical, from Yahoo Sports, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. Would you say that that's hyperbole, Adrian, or where do you sit on where this story ranks?
No, I think Rich, it transcends NBA history. It really is one of the great victories in sports history. To me, the comparable was, and you could see it when they were down 3-1, and you said, well, you know, if you were a Red Sox fan and they go down 3-0 to the Yankees, and for the Red Sox to finally do it, maybe it had to be something that dramatic and, bringing yourself all the way back. Now, that was only for, the American League. That wasn't the World Series. So what Cleveland did here, coming back from 3-1 against this great Golden State team, it puts this championship in a special class that really will be remembered forever. Not just in Cleveland, but I think it'll resound around the league for years and years.
And I know that we could say that the Draymond Green suspension opened the door, but they knocked it down. I mean, Green played the last two games.
They got drilled in that game. Let's see, 4 or 5. Game 5. Mm-hmm. And so to say, well, if Draymond played, they would have won. Maybe they would have been more competitive, but they got thoroughly outplayed, certainly in 5 and 6. And then in Game 7, LeBron and just willed them. But listen, Draymond brought it on himself. He was suspended because he deserved to be. Getting another flagrant and adding to his total and getting the one game. So that's an excuse to me that's not going to hold much. He put himself in that position. I love Draymond Green. He was awesome, just awesome last night for Golden State. But that can't be an excuse for anybody on this one.
Is Steph Curry hurt?
Well, he was hurt through the playoffs coming off that MCL strain. But I think you certainly didn't see the explosion from him physically, his ability to, finish at the basket. Cleveland had a lot to do with that. They were very physical with him. Ty Lue had a great defensive scheme. They switched a lot of guys on and off him, but also he missed a lot of open. Last night he had point-blank looks that he's made all season, all the last couple of years, and he missed shots. But listen, he was well enough to be out there and still be making big plays. Cleveland won this thing fair and square.
Yeah, they did. So what does this mean for Curry? What's the conversation going to be? Because it's the first time that he has not lived up to a billing in his career. He's always surpassed it. He's always rewritten the billing, Adrian. Now he hasn't lived up to it. What do you think is going to happen on this front?
Well, listen, he's a player who did not come – he's not been a superstar his whole career, and he's dealt with adversity. It's not the first time he's had to deal with, whether it was the injuries early in his career, a player who people really doubted whether he would be, how impactful he'd be in the NBA, didn't have big scholarship offers. He's dealt with things. He'll handle this fine. I think this Golden State team will come back hungry, and I think it'll be very interesting to see how aggressive they get in free agency right here. How aggressive I think they're going to be in pursuit of Kevin Durant. Oklahoma City is the front runner to keep him on another one-year deal, but I think losing this series, losing it the way they did, if Golden State needed any impetus to go after Durant, and I don't think they did, I think they were always going to, they'll be full speed ahead to try to get a meeting with him and see if they can, how much interest they can get from him.
How realistic is that then?
I don't think I think right now Durant remains, Oklahoma City remains the front runner to get him back, at least for another year. But there's other teams trying to get involved, and that's still going to unfold here over the next week, 10 days.
Adrian Wojnarowski joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. So let's say they don't get the big fish. What does Golden State do from here to – I mean, they did win 73 in the regular season, and they did come within a possession of winning it back-to-back. What is the future then?
Well, Harrison Barnes is a restricted free agent. He will get a very big offer sheet in free agency that Golden State will probably match. It's very rare that a team lets a player who they consider an asset, who's a very good player, leave without any compensation, even if they feel like it's going to have to be an overpay. And usually in restricted free agency, teams are willing to overpay to convince the host team to not to not match. So regardless of how Harrison Barnes played in these finals, he's going to get a very big offer sheet. I think Golden State, especially if they're not involved with Durant, will match that. And they'll start to, they've got a lot of, they've got their core all back, and they'll probably continue to try to find some pieces around the edges to improve their bench. Players are going to want to play there, and veteran players on one-year deals at minimum contracts who want to win championships, Golden State's going to be appealing to them.
So what about Cleveland now? What about LeBron's future? What do you think happens here, Adrian? Does he stay put? Is there something afoot?
Well, he said himself earlier this year, and that's what I wrote about the other day, and it was based on what he said, which was what would appeal to him at some point again would be to joining up with his friends, the Carmelo Anthonys, the Chris Paul. Now, Chris Paul's a free agent next year. There's a much bigger free agent class next year. LeBron's on these one-year deals. He'll probably sign another one-year deal in Cleveland. But long-term, he's the one who has put it out there that perhaps playing again with some of his friends at some point in his career and trying to win a championship with them appeals to him. Now, they're not coming to Cleveland. It would have to be somewhere else.
Why do you say that?
Because it's never been players of that caliber. They'll go to Miami. They'll go to L.A. You have not seen superstar free agents want to come to Cleveland. They just haven't. That's not how it's worked. Kevin Love, remember, was traded to Cleveland in a deal. History has shown that it's not the first time around LeBron was there, and this time. And they're not built financially right now to be able to bring players in. He'd have to go somewhere else. But certainly the championship, it galvanizes him there. But he's the one who's put it out there that maybe he would play somewhere else again during his career. So that'll be on him to decide how he wants to proceed going forward.
Adrian Wojnarowski of Yahoo Sports joining me here on the show. What does the NBA front office do about all the blowouts and the conversation about the refereeing in these playoffs? How do the playoffs sit with the intelligentsia in New York City, Adrian?
I think that the league will continue to try to make officiating more transparent in terms of the evaluation of officials, the grading of officials. I think teams and fans will continue to get more information about it than less. I think they think that's the best way to combat the idea that there's, quote unquote, some kind of a, that there's something bigger going on, is to provide transparency. I think that's been Adam Silver's mandate from the beginning. Now, the blowouts, there's nothing you can do about that. The blowouts are blowouts. The games take the life of them. They take on their own life. But I think you'll continue to see more information, grading, all those things coming from the league than less.
Okay. Adrian, thanks for joining. Really appreciate it. Next week is the draft. So is that a Simmons, Ingram? How does that sit with you 10 days out right now?
Well, Thursday's the draft. It'll
Thursday,
be
right, this Thursday.
Simmons, Ingram. We're going to have a live show on the Vertical on Yahoo.
Great.
With the draft, I'll be at Barclays Center. We'll have a studio show.
There we go.
Mannix, Tom Crean from Indiana. So we're going to have it covered on the Vertical and Yahoo.
Okay. So what do you think it's going to be? Is it going to be Simmons or Ingram in 3 days?
Oh, I think Simmons is definitely the lean right now for Philadelphia, and I think the draft really will start at number 3. Phoenix at 3, Boston at 4. Have been pretty aggressive in trying to trade those picks and get veteran impact players instead of drafting young players in those spots.
Adrian, thanks so much. We'll look forward to watching the draft with you, through you, on Yahoo Sports. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Rich. Appreciate it, man.
That's Adrian Wojnarowski.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.